So we're at the lehua Summit Trail. So you can see that's kind of our view right now. Wanted to point out, there's a lot of interesting trees around. I wanted to point out one invasive. This is Arundea Graminifolia, also known as the bamboo orchid. So this is an orchid native to tropical Asia that has kind of become invasive and naturalized in this area. We've pretty much seen this since the start of the trail, all the way up. Some are in flower, some have these little keikis on them. This is another way that they reproduce. Basically that falls off and goes somewhere and it will resprout a new plant. And then some of them have some seed pods on them as well. But yeah, pretty much all throughout this trail. There's some other stuff, like right here is a native. This is an ōhiʻa tree. So this is actually one of the important natives around here. There's a koa tree back in there. So among these uluhe ferns, one of the things that kind of stands out is this. So this is Spathoglottis Placata. This is a Philippine ground orchid. You can see these are the leaves to that. So this is native to Southeast Asia. It's introduced here and it's kind of invasive. And this is another ground orchid that's been grown wild along this trail as well. So kind of interesting. Let's see if we can get a close-up on the flowers. So this is a koa tree here. This is one of the more important endemic Hawaiian species. The genus and species it's Acacia koa. So this is related to acacias. It's a legume, which means it fixes nitrogen, but its leaves are unlike other legumes. You can see they're kind of this sickle shaped. When the seeds sprout of this, it does start out with that bipinnate compound leaf like a normal legume does, but then these leaves start developing afterwards. And these are essentially just a petiole extension. So in opposition to a normal leaf of a non-legume where it's the petiole and then leaf, this is just essentially a long flat petiole. This is important to basically Hawaii culturally. The wood for this is very sought after. The native Hawaiians made canoes and surfboards out of it. And then if you go to like a local carver, the more expensive carvings are made out of this wood. It's one of the faster growing native Hawaiian species. The more we've seen of it has been essentially up at this high elevation area. But I've heard that at like low elevation rainy areas in a good position it can reach about 100 feet tall. Obviously this tree is not 100 feet tall, it's still pretty young, but just a good example of the koa tree. So we're almost at the top of the lehua Summit Trail, and I wanted to point out this nice palm here. So this is one of the native Prachardias in this area. This is Pracharya Kahuku-Ensis. Basically the range of this species is at the northwestern end of the Ko'ula mountain range from about 1,600 to 1,800 feet. And that's right around where we are. Also on this trail a little bit further on are going to be some Pracardiamardiai that I'll point out as well in another video. But the biggest difference between these two species is the leaves basically form a spherical shape in the crown here, and the seeds are a little smaller as well. So the seeds on this one are about that big. There's some green developing seeds on it now. Nothing ripe right now though. Yeah, so I mean this is a pretty nice setting and a nice palm. So Pracharya Kahuku-Ensis. So this is Pracardiamardiai. We're still on the lehua Summit Trail, and this is basically the other species found on the trail. Most of the palms on this trail are actually this species. So this is probably one of the more widespread native Prichardia on this island. There's a few others native to the island, but most of them are in kind of restricted areas in groups of 1 or 2. This is pretty widely distributed throughout the island. So you can see basically the undersides of the leaves have that nice silvery color, and the leaves themselves are relatively flat. It's hard to see on this tree here. I may end up showing another tree later on, but the leaves don't go down all the way either. So they kind of form an umbrella canopy rather than going 360. The seeds are going to be a little bigger too. That doesn't have any seeds on it. I see some flowers, structures, but no seeds. Yeah, so Pracardiamardiai. I think the native name for this one was ōhiʻa. I think that's what it was. So these are the Prachardiamardiai, kind of a little further away. There's one down there too.